let alone in religion, but in other things. From one substance, all has come. And so that's the first thing we have to impinge upon our consciousness deeply, that there is one substance, God alone. And all the great ones are that substance, vibrating at different rates of vibration. Some manifesting different aspects of the one eternal substance of God in their consciousness. Jesus, compassion and love, and Lord Shankara, I am He, Blessed Spirit, I am He. All from the one eternal substance, God. Now, man has got eternal faith and believes intuitively in the existence of a substance of which the objects of senses, sound, touch, taste, and smell, the component parts of this visible world, are but properties. That should read, man has got eternal faith and believes intuitively in the existence of a substance which make up the component parts of this visible world, and due to our applying the five senses to them, it gives them certain properties as touch, weight, and smell, and sight, and those things. Now, we know intuitively that they are from one eternal substance, God. Now, as man identifies himself with his material body composed of the aforesaid properties, he is able to comprehend by his imperfect organs these properties only. We comprehend the properties of the one eternal substance as the flower, as the sight, and the smell, and the feeling, the hardness, and so forth. We comprehend those things only. As man identifies himself with the material body composed of the aforesaid properties, he is able to comprehend by his imperfect organs these properties only, and not the substance to which these properties belong. Isn't that wonderful? We comprehend the organ, we comprehend this room, all things, because we comprehend them through our five senses and inference. But do we see behind them the one eternal substance, God? No. So, the eternal Father, God, the only substance in the universe, is therefore not comprehensible by man of this material world unless he becomes divine by lifting up his self above the creation of darkness, maya, or delusion. And so, unless we are able to lift our consciousness from attachment to these different properties, the object of senses, unless we are able to lift the Son of Man until he has spiritual consciousness, we cannot comprehend in any manner the underlying unity of God's eternal substance. That's why the Holy Science is so important, because it shows us how, it gives us the gospel, the theory, and the procedure to do that. The only one real substance is God alone. And, as I said in the beginning, Sri Yukteswarji shows by parallel references the eternal truths which the Vedas have given, and the Oriental sages, and he gives two references. Hebrews, first, the 11th chapter, first verse, and St. John, the 8th chapter, 28th verse. Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, and the evidence of things not seen. We know, even though we cannot see, behind the beautiful flower, behind each and every one of us, we know through that inherent faith of the intuition within us that there exists something behind this outward manifested form. And then finally, then said Jesus unto them, when ye have lifted up the Son of Man, then shall ye know that I am He. In other words, Jesus didn't mean his body. He meant the Christ consciousness within him speaking. When you have lifted up worldly consciousness, which constitutes the Son of Man, when you have elevated to the Christ consciousness within the unity of God within you, the one eternal substance in you, when you've done that, then you will know that Christ consciousness in you is God the Father. So there we have something to think about to start with as we study the Holy Science. Remember, God alone. Don't be sidetracked. Master often said, never mind what happens to me. That light which you see is far greater than I am. That's God himself. That's the eternal substance. Now that doesn't belittle the Master, because God is in him. He manifests him so completely. But thou shalt have no other gods before me, because there's one eternal substance, God alone. Now this evening we are taking up the second of the series of the Holy Science. And let us, for a few minutes, review the last week's lecture, wherein we talked about the one real substance of the universe, the eternal Father, God alone. The important thing which we have to remember in this particular matter is that we become identified with the properties of that eternal substance and do not identify ourselves with the substance itself. And therein comes all the trouble. Identification with not the substance, but the properties of the substance can equal only one thing, and that is delusion. The properties of the substance are known as the objects of senses. And when we are identified with those objects of senses, we miss the reality, the underlying eternal substance, the only real substance, God alone. Now, this evening, we are going on with the second paragraph of the Holy Science, and in this paragraph is discussed the nature of God the Father.